Well, good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you being here this glorious morning. It is Monday. Monday. It's 10-10-22. That doesn't mean anything, but okay. It is Columbus Day, or Indigenous People Day. It's Columbus Day. I've lived in a part of the country forever who, except for financial institutions, didn't give a rip about Columbus Day. I know that there used to be, where I used to live when I was a little kid, there used to be, school was off and all the offices were closed, and there were parades and la la la, and you know, here in Florida, I don't ever remember having Columbus Day off as a kid, ever, or Indigenous Peoples Day or anything like that. We just, you know, it was another day. It was here. It's another day of school, where you maybe do a Columbus Day thing, talking about 1492, how Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And then we later found out, you know, when we got to college, that, oh, that dude was lost and days away from being tossed overboard. Okay, he was kind of a moron. And you know, and Isabella was one of the people, you know, the last resorts of him getting the money to do what he needed to do. But however, what he did do was he did show that there was, I mean, the other side of the world existed. Now, there were people who would already figure that out. I know, don't come at me. I know there are people who'd already been to that side of the world and had returned, but not, you know, not so much in Europe. So he did do that. And as I remember, you can correct me on this, he made several other trips afterwards. Although he was lost, he thought he was India. He thought he was in India. So when people say he discovered, well, yeah, he found it. I mean, he didn't discover it like it wasn't there before, but every discovery is something that we find, something that was already there. Creation is different than discovery. So did Columbus discover what we now call America? Yes. Did he discover America? No, because America didn't exist then. If we're gonna get all picky about words, but anyways, Columbus, he was lost. He was kind of an idiot. Got lucky and got paid. You know, and Bill Maher, I think, says it best, how terrible it is that Bill Maher says it best, that did Columbus, you know, commit atrocities? Yes. But there are people of that age that were pretty much atrocious. People did everything to each other. We're not much better at this point. And I think that we're only better because people are better armed. Not because people are better, because they are not better. People are better armed. People are better able to fight for themselves. So when some people are better able to fight for themselves, sometimes people will tend to leave you alone. If people know that you will kick their ass, they will probably not mess with you, right? Once they see that you reach out and break their buddy's arm, they're probably not going to mess with you, right? And that's what's happened. Self-defense technology, whatever that happens to be, will tend to have people shy away from messing with you. He says it best that, you know, we have as people, as you know, he says, as a human race, people kind of suck. I think that he doesn't understand why people suck. I understand why people suck, because we live in a sinful, fallen world and always have. So people tend to suck. Again, welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. We'll be back right after these messages. All righty, we're back. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with us this morning. We do appreciate that. So So what's going on? What's going on? Lots always going on. Let's do this first. PayPal. I remember PayPal. A lot of us had PayPal. It was one of those first um, online ways to pay for things. That was really online. It wasn't like it was a debit. It was a debit card for online purchases, and I think I liked it because it basically you would put money in it, and then you could pay with it, and then it disconnected the world from your bank account. Even before that was really as big an issue as it is now. PayPal has grown and has been a bigger force, economic force in the world than it ever has been. And it's getting weirder. There was a story about a notice that PayPal put out a bit ago, last week, that this was their policy. According to the initial policy, PayPal said that its list of prohibited activities would grow on November 3rd to include the sending, the posting, publication of any messages, content, or materials that, quote, promote misinformation or, quote, present a risk to user safety or well-being, end quote. Additionally, users could not promote hate, violence, racial, or other forms of intolerance that's discriminatory. Violating the new policies could result in damages, including a fine of $2,500 that could be debited directly from your PayPal account for each offense. Now, I don't have anywhere near $2,500 in my PayPal account. As a matter of fact, I have $6 in my PayPal account. No, I don't. I don't even have $6 in my PayPal account. I sometimes use PayPal as a go-through, a go-between. I might have set something up on PayPal, and it's a go-between now. So I have $0 in my PayPal account. But that's not the point. The point is, who the hell does PayPal think they are? That they are now going to also police. They're going to police what I get to do. And I'm sure that sitting here in this chair, saying the things that we get to talk about on a daily basis would go against their policy. Now, were they actually able to push this policy forward? No, they reversed this policy. They decided that they weren't going to do it because it was incredible pushback. Here's what they said. AUP notice recently went out in error that included incorrect information, the company said in a statement. PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy. Our teams are working to correct our policy pages. We are sorry for the confusion that this has caused. Two things. We're too cynical and we're too smart to believe you. I don't believe you. And it wasn't just conservatives that sounded the alarm about this Orwellian policy. Former PayPal President David Marcus blasted the move, with Tesla CEO Elon Musk agreeing. Basically, Marcus said, "It's hard for me to openly criticize a company I used to love and gave so much to. But PayPal's new AUP goes against everything I believe in. A private company now gets to decide to take your money if you say something they agree with. Insanity." Elon Musk tweeted, agreed. Are you kidding me? That this private company decides if they don't like what you say and that you have money, they'll just take it. Again, I have a PayPal account, and I'm not going to tell you what to do with your health. I am not a doctor, and I don't play one here on YouTube or on Rumble or on any of the other platforms that this program is presented on. So I can't tell you what to do with your health. I am not a financial advisor by any way. If you've seen my checking account, you'll know that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you any financial advice. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do today. I've had a PayPal account for more than 20 years, probably 30 years. Today will be the last day. That's what I'm going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. You can do whatever you want because you will. And there's nothing I can do to stop you because you always do whatever the heck you want, but whatever the heck you want to. Charles Payne tweeted, "This is bizarre and scary. Talk about chutzpah. PayPal gets to decide whether its users say what its users say and then penalize them. Get out of here. I'm canceling them today." A lot of people have PayPal accounts. Now, a lot of them don't walk around with their PayPal card, debit card. But PayPal has a credit card. They have other services they do, like they used to be a way to get money for donations on your website. They had that system. They had together, and we used to use it. Used to use it when I was at my campaign and on our website. If there is still a PayPal button on our website, we'll be taking that down either today or tomorrow. Brian Fournier tweets, "Why would PayPal have written out the terms for taking $2,500 from people who spread, quote, misinformation, end quote, if they weren't going to implement it at some point? You just don't have copies sitting around like that for no reason. This was no mistake." John Cordelio tweets, "Now PayPal is backpedaling. Don't buy it. Armies of lawyers and policy and standards people review terms of service language before it's published. It doesn't get published by accident. Everybody looks through all this stuff and sees. None of this happens by accident." Kevin Sorbo tweets, "PayPal isn't sorry. They're just mad they got caught." Do what you do. I'm not sure what you're going to do, but after 30 plus years, probably, my personal relationship and my business relationship with PayPal ends today. All right. Here is something that I think is sad. I think it is sad. This is from Spencer Brown at Town Hall. As Town Hall reported at the time, President Biden complimented Republican Governor Ron DeSantis during a visit. One that also included Biden getting caught on a hot mic, declaring no one F's with Biden. And the guy he said it to was the mayor of, I think, of Fort Myers. And the mayor of Fort Myers said, it's just two guys talking. No big deal. For the potential 2024 GOP presidential candidate preparation and response to Hurricane Ian. That visit and his complimentary remark for DeSantis' leadership, according to CNN, has sent a worried, quote, sentiment rolling through Democrat circles in Florida, who believe Biden put a fork in Democrat candidate Chris's chance of unseating DeSantis in the midterm elections. CNN talked with former state rep Sean Shaw. Sean Shaw is a guy that I personally know. When I was doing Porch Talk Radio on WTMP in Tampa, Sean's show was on right before ours. And so Sean Shaw is kind of a Democrat grifter. I can say it that way. But he's a full-throated Democrat, for sure. who said his phone was full of text messages from Democrats noting how bad Biden's remarks could be for Crist. Okay, Sean, buddy. Sean, now I don't want you to get it wrong. I am not adversaries, open adversaries with Sean Shaw. I am not. We are not close friends. I think every time we've met, we have been cordial. We have been professional. We have treated each other like human beings. How are you doing today? Doing good. Great. All right. Time for the show. Time for our show. Y'all have a good day now. I think that's been the extent of our relationship, and that's fine. And that's fine. Did in that changing from him leaving the studio to we getting in the studio, did we ever have conflict? No. I made sure we didn't, and I'm sure he made sure we didn't. It was just pleasantries, small talk. How are things going? Sure is hot out there, that kind of thing. But let me tell you, the only thing this helped, the only thing, because this is how Democrats think. They are of the mind that everybody thinks like them. I know that not everybody thinks like me, and I understand that, and that's fine, and maybe you shouldn't. Is that the only thing this might have done was solidify people's opinions on who they're going to vote for. That's it. At the very most, it solidified that. People weren't waiting for Joe Biden to come down here and say something. They were not. It's not how a lot of people think. It's definitely not how Republicans think. They weren't waiting. They weren't waiting for Trump to say something positive about DeSantis. They weren't waiting for for Biden to come down here and say something positive. Oh, now the president's on board. We can vote for DeSantis. That's foolishness. It is partisan foolishness, Sean. You got to know better. And you know what? And you're not dumb. You do know better. Here's what CNN reported. At the time of Biden's remark, Crist, the Democrat nominee for governor, and his allies were ramping up criticism of DeSantis tied to the hurricane. First of all, that's terrible. First of all, that's terrible. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. This is data over models. You go and see what happened to people's homes and their businesses and their lives. But like I've said before, Democrats have always been willing to stand on the bodies of dead people to push an agenda. Always. Highlighting the former GOP congressman's past votes against storm aid and climate change legislation, and raising questions about the timing of evacuations in Lee County and the lack of urgency to address a crumbling property insurance market. They were all ready. They were ready. Yep. The storm aid, what? The storm aid that sent $12 billion to Ukraine, and less than $20 million to Jackson, Mississippi, having a water crisis, or data, water crisis. 12 billion to Ukraine, less than 20 million to Jackson, Mississippi. You mean that storm aid? Climate change legislation. Okay. The concept of climate change legislation, we can't talk about in this program because this program can't be 15 hours long. And it won't ever be 15 hours long. The lack of urgency to address a crumbling property insurance market. Property insurance sucks in a place that gets hurricanes. It does. property insurance sucks in a place that gets hurricanes. Earlier in the week, Crist and state Democrat Party promoted a story from a local television station featuring Floridians who said they were blocked from delivering storm supplies so DeSantis could survey the damage. Here's what happens. Let me tell you. When these things happen, official crews have to show up and assess damage. Now, normally they won't take the governor with them, but they don't, this governor's like, well, I'm gonna go see for myself. And what they can't have is a whole bunch of people just running around. They cannot. So they do block off areas that may be dangerous, that may not, because what the rescue and crews don't really need are more people to rescue, especially right afterwards. The last thing they needed are more people to rescue. So they say on CNN, Biden closed the door to that. One veteran Democratic strategist told CNN, asking not to be named, openly to speak about the race. Wonder why that is, Sean. The dynamics of the race needed to shift, and it was an opportunity for it to shift, the strategist said. The president complimenting the governor takes the whole issue off the table. Well, it should have never been on the table. This is a hurricane. This was a Cat 4 storm that came in and caused an incredible amount of damage to property, to lives. Should have never been on the table. As Hurricane Ian turned towards Florida, Town Hall reported on numerous Democrats and mainstream media outlets that were hoping for the worst in Florida as a way to tear down DeSantis, as if he controlled the path of the hurricanes, rather than praying for the best for their fellow Americans in the Sunshine State. As Town Hall predicted, Democrats and the mainstream media showed their true colors, rooting for DeSantis to fail and for Florida to get decimated. They just forgot to loop Joe Biden in on their plans to use Hurricane Ian to, quote, shift the race in the Democrats' direction. It was never going to do that. Again, because a lot of people, most people who live here understand what the deal is. It's only the people who don't live here, who don't understand, who don't get a picture of how all these things fit together. It's the only people. However, as CNN source explained, Democrats didn't get to do what they wanted. The race didn't shift because DeSantis prepared and executed disaster relief plans in a way that Biden and most Floridians called remarkable. And now Democrats will have to try to find another crisis to exploit in their feeble attempts to tear down Governor DeSantis. The fact that the Democrats apparently need a devastating hurricane to tear down Republicans in order to win, rather than making a strong enough case to win on the merits of their own ideas, says it all. Says everything. It absolutely says everything. They use racism, they use misogyny, they use homophobia, they use xenophobia, they use all these things because, frankly, their ideas suck. They've got no ideas that people are interested in supporting. And they know that. That's the hard part. Hard part for me is they already know that. They already know they got nothing. So if they've got nothing, then it's got to be blackface. It's got to be racism. It's got to be misogyny. It's got to be homophobia. It's got to be transphobia. It's got to be something, right? Because your ideas, and when you get and when the left gets to implement their ideas, it's always a nightmarish, hellish disaster. Because first of all, they don't work. They only work maybe academically. Maybe academically, they never work practically, and most people aren't thinking like them. They're under the mind that people are, like I said before, thinking like they think. Most people are not. Most people care about safety and security, about being secure and in their person and in their own personal economies, in the education for their children, and having a peaceable life. There you go. Most folks are not activists by any stretch of the imagination. Most folks on either side of the aisle are activists. They're not. Most people want to do exactly what I just said they want to do. So they're not looking for racism under every rock. They're not looking for transphobia under every rock. They're not looking for homophobia under every rock. They're not looking for xenophobia under every rock. They're not looking for misogyny under every rock. They are not. They are trying to live a peaceful life. And the more the left tries to make everyone an activist, the more they're going to lose. We'll be back right after these messages. All right. Again, I trust that you are well today. Please don't forget, Election Day is on November 8th. It's a Tuesday. And I'm sure early voting is going to start here before we know it. It's already the 10th of October. Early voting is going to start. Where I live, I think it's 14 days before the election. A lot of, some conservatives that I deal with, Republicans I deal with, say don't early vote because then they'll know how many votes they need to manufacture. Okay. If you're not in a place where there is, where they can harvest ballots, harvesting ballots is a way that people can cheat for sure. Where they can harvest ballots and then drop them off at some dark and desolate election collection place or ballot collection box somewhere that's not watched in the middle of the night somewhere. Yeah, that's a problem. I also, and I understand it is probably better to show up on election day. I like to early vote because then I can drive from precinct to precinct, keeping an eye on things, and that's what I suggest you do. I suggest that you go from precinct to precinct, recording, documenting. You got a phone. You don't have to have a camera, although you can have a camera. Hang on. Wait. If you can see this, there you go. I know it has this little thing out front, so you can set it this way, so the lens doesn't get messed up. It doesn't actually do anything, but it looks cool. It's a little 4K camera, and you put a little SD card in there, and you can surreptitiously, that's not a word. No, it is not a word, but you can pop that out there so you can catch behavior that you think is suspicious, document it, and if it turns out to be suspicious, then you have evidence. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. There is no expectation of privacy in a public place. Now, I do not take cameras into the precincts. Do not. I'm telling you again, do not take cameras in the precincts. I want to make sure that all this YouTube algorithm and gets this. Do not. There isn't one place in America where you can take a camera and record what's going on inside a precinct. Do not. That will get you arrested, and it should. It's illegal. Don't do it. I'll just put that there. But you can doggone sure record what's going on outside in a public place, because there is no expectation of privacy in a public space. No. All right. Let's finish up. Let's finish. Let's get finished today. Let's get finished today. Okay. Excuse me. Took me a while to find that. Even more sad. You have to ask yourself this. This is from our friend Matt Vespa at Town Hall. Are they willfully ignorant, or do they just don't they don't care, or they just not care? Maybe it's a toxic combination of both. Whatever the case, Democrats have decided to go full send on abortion, even when the polls suggest that it's not an issue, that no that's it's an issue that's no election winner. It isn't. Some people were thinking that this was going to make the difference. This was it. The Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade was the way that we win in November. It's not at all. Especially when inflation and recession and the breakdown of law and order have taken over all surveys on the top voter concerns. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. Democrats can't address these issues because being pro-public safety means that you're racist in their circles. They've painted themselves in this corner. Inflation is not a fundamental economic issue, and Democrats have decided to disregard the definition of a recession to avoid acknowledging that we're knee-deep in one. So they go onto the issue that gets the woke, college-educated women agitated abortions. But even that's peaked. So this issue, will it activate, and we said this here, will it activate some people? Yes, but it's only going to activate the people who were going to vote left anyway. It only made them louder. It didn't change the minds of the people. I mean, again, it didn't change the mind of anybody. It didn't change the mind of anybody. Still, the left will dump millions of dollars in the ads about how baby killing is a fundamental to maintaining American values when a record number of living paycheck to paycheck and accumulating mountains of credit card debt. No one has the time to care about infanticide except woke, wealthy, and overwhelmingly white college-educated folks who infest the cities, which are already Democrat run. Now here's the deal. And I'm glad that we've had time on this program and other programs like it to say, hey, listen, nothing's changed. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade, nothing has changed in California. Not a damn thing. Nothing has changed in Illinois. Not a damn thing. Nothing has changed in New York. Not anything at all. Nothing. Nothing has changed. If murdering your child in utero was legal where you are now, it still is. Except for a very few places that had trigger laws that said if this case ever got overturned, then this would go into effect. Those are as a few places, literally a few places. And most of those have the exceptions that everyone seems to care so much about. Rape, incest, health of the mother for sure. Rape and incest are less than 1%, less than half of 1%, I believe, of cases. Okay, so I think people will throw those in there. Fine, this hardly ever happens. So okay. Democrat super PACs and campaigns have dropped almost $18 million on abortion-related ads, tripling what they spent on the issue throughout the entire 2018 general election, according to Politico. Democrats view abortion as a winning issue for their party and are bombarding the voters with TV ads on the issue. according to Politico. However, the majority of voters favor abortion restrictions that are opposed by most Democrats. And abortion is consistently ranked a low priority by most voters, according to numerous polls. Abortion is the most important issue for only about 5% of voters, according to a July poll from Monmouth University, while 63% said inflation-related issues were their top priority. What did I just tell you? People are concerned about their safety, their personal safety and their economic safety, and being able to live peaceably. Only 8% of respondents said abortion was the most important thing to them in a separate Zigel poll in July. Voters who support abortion are less likely to vote in the November election than those who think abortion should be illegal, another poll found. It's a loser. And I guess that should hold out some hope for the rest of us about our nation, that killing your child in utero is a losing argument in an election. That should make the rest of us feel better. Makes me feel better. In any case, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.